You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest and repeat offender on Ron Siegel Radio.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Jeff Ball. How are you?
Well, I'm great, Ron. It's great to be back, and it's good to see you and actually do this in person as opposed to over Zoom, right?
Yeah, it's much nicer. You know, it's a lot better doing it in person and having that interaction with people. And it's unfortunate in our world today, my opinion, is we've gotten too used to mediocrity, right? And when you do them over Zoom, it's to me, it's always been that it's good, but not good, right? It's good when if it's the only option, it's good. It's better than nothing,
right?
But if you have the option of being together, you can see each other, you can interact, you're not talking over each other. So much better. Hey, let me remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. National Walnut Day. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Oh, no, that's almonds. Sorry. Okay, well, this is Walnut Day. National Cherry Cobbler Day. Where's the whipped cream, guys? We missed the whipped cream on that. Okay. Cherry Cobbler Day. Or they're celebrating America. We don't do this in California too much. National Idaho Day. So it's a National Idaho. I guess that's for people that are, well, maybe they're leaving California. Take a look at this. I watch this one all the time. If you haven't ever checked this out, I know that the people in Washington or in Sacramento do not know about this website. Don't tell them. It's called howmoneywalks.com because they want us to believe that people are still coming to California, but the money is leaving California. $82.32 billion annual AGI leaving California on average since 1992. We use this number all the time, but hey, that's just a different story. Maybe they're going to, I'm looking here, it's not going to Idaho. That's not on the list. Nevada, Texas, Arizona, Oregon, and Washington are the top 5 where the adjusted gross income from California does tend to be going. Let's take a look and see what else we've got going on today. Where are the markets at today? Dow Jones Industrial Average up 220 points. S&P 500 up 53. NASDAQ is up $218 points. Oil down 13 cents. $114 per barrel of oil. Now, I learned this, and I don't know if you've ever heard this one, but there is a mathematic formula that tells us when gasoline prices, where they're going to. So let's just take a look at this. Now, this is a national number, a national formula. For those of us in California, you got to add another 25%. But if you will take oil at $114 a barrel, multiply that times 1.5, okay, that's going to give you the cost of refining. Divide by 42. That tells you how many gallons of gasoline there are in that barrel. And that add 80 cents for profit and taxes. That's going to give you the formula to get to the cost of a gallon of gasoline or where it's going, because right now it's at $4.48, heading to $5 a gallon, not in the too distant future. Now, again, I remember I told you that's the national numbers right here in the formerly Golden State. We are, well, at least we're holding steady. Oh, no, we're not. I'm sorry. I missed it. $6.02 a gallon now is the average for a gallon of gasoline in the formerly Golden State. 602. Nowhere else in the country do we have a six handle. Josh, you're over at 519. So don't complain too much about gasoline when you're at 519 and we're at 602 a gallon. You might not want to leave Vegas. I mean, look at that. Our gas prices are kind of like your slot machines, right? They keep on going around in circles and no one ever wins. Well, at 25% taxes, probably the state of California is winning. Okay, Jody, you're at 481 out there in Arizona, and our tremendous underwriter, Lori, this is enough to make me ill. 418 a gallon, Lori's paying in Louisiana. 418, we're at 602. Want to watch where gasoline? Hey, elections have consequences. Keep on voting the same way and see what happens. And I love listening to the governor in his latest set of ads that he doesn't want to be like Donald Trump. Guess he doesn't like low inflation, low interest rates, low gas prices. What a steady border or a secure border. You see the new tunnel they just found on the border? Secure border, foreign affairs under control. I guess that would be something you don't want to strive for, Mr. Governor. Unbelievable. That's just watching what he's doing or not doing for our country. And did you see our new press secretary for the president yesterday? Asked about how taxing people is going to help with gasoline prices. And she went on a 3-minute discussion on global warming. But she didn't mention water in California. Maybe she can help us with water in California. Maybe that's going to come from taxing people more. I don't know. Obviously, we don't want to have the desalination plant out in Huntington Beach. That, we might have a problem with a few more Delta smelt or something like that. I get on these rants. Let's talk about something a little more fun. How about this weekend? If you're anywhere in the area of Yorba Linda, great event. It comes coming back live this year after a 2-year hiatus. This is I go to a lot of events all year long, and this Saturday is one of my favorites. Well, it's because it's all you can eat, right? All you can eat lobster. They fly it in the morning. All you can eat steak, tri-tip. They start cooking that or smoking that first thing in the morning. And we just bring our own wine, but all you can eat steak and lobster right at Yorba Linda Lobster Fest, raising money, right? So it's the Yorba Linda Rotary does this every year, and they raise a boatload of money for the community. And I'm sure a lot of those community organizations are needing it right now after a couple of years of hiatus, not getting that. I think the last time I heard any of the numbers, and I may be off, don't quote me on this, but I think they raised the last time they had the Lobster Fest, right around $90,000 was the amount that they allocated to give away to the community. That's after all of their expenses and flying in 4,000 or 5,000 pounds of lobster and all these thousands of pounds of steak. My mouth is watering, waiting for Saturday. If you're going to be there, stop by, say hello, give us a shout out. I do have a security detail for those of you that don't like what I have to say. No, I'm just kidding. No, we don't have a security detail there. We just we're there having a good time with everybody else. Great fundraiser. I think, don't quote me on this. We do a corporate sponsorship. No, I don't get paid to promote them. So we have that corporate sponsorship, and there's going to be 19 of us there this time. And there'll be about 1,300 people in all. Yorba Linda Lobster. I think it's YL. Josh, maybe you'll look this up for us. YLLobsterfest.com, I think, is the name of it. We'll give you that when we come back. YLLobsterfest.com, I believe, is the name. And I think there's still a few seats left. If you want to come out and have a great time, bring your appetite. Obviously, if you look at me, you know that I go to the big tail section. No, that just means that they bring more. They keep delivering the food as opposed to me having to get off my rear end and go and get it up in line. So it's just a difference of how much money you spend. Yorba Linda Lobster Fest. Check it out. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to chat with Jeff Ball. Last time you heard from him was different. Now we're going to talk about the Orange County Business Council. We're going to learn what is the Orange County Business Council. What do they do? Where are they going? Who are they supporting? Who are they representing? We'll talk to their CEO and president. We're in the company of hierarchy here. Why rising mortgage rates push buyers off the fence. And generally, when Jeff and I get together, I don't get to the Your Credit Matters segment. If we do, what is multi-factor authentication and why you should use it? I doubt we're going to talk about that. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you could retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is, you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit ronsiegelradio.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. 1990, the Mortgage Minute, today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. Even if you don't have steady income that you're documenting, right? Business owners, bank statement loans, 1099 loans, all of those are available right now at Geneva Financial. Let's take a look. What's the market doing? We got to watch it for you all the time, although my screen did just go blank, which kind of causes a little bit of a problem. But the S&P 500 up 53 points. 10-year Treasury, it's knocking on the door at 3% again. It's up 9 basis points to 2.966. The mortgage-backed securities down 33 basis points. That is a big drop, meaning interest rates have gone up again. And as I tell you all the time, OBMMI provides the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. Loans yesterday locked at 5.439, 5.439, and down just a little bit from the day before. 15-year Why are you getting a 15-year loan? 4.526, 30-year jumbos, 5.028, FHA 5.355. The best loan on the market because it's for our heroes. 30-year VA loan, 5.096, USDA 5.278. Those are all the rates that people are actually locking at. So no matter what you hear on the news, no matter what you hear coming out of Freddie Mac, no matter what you hear on commercials, that's where the rates are actually locking at. And I'm going to tell you why all of that is happening. National Association of Home Builders Housing Market Index decreased by 8 points from last month's revised figure of 77 to 69 in May. Current sales decreased by 8 points to 78. Sales expectations decreased by 10 points to 63, and buyer traffic decreased by 9 points. Are you getting a little picture here of what's going on, talking about the buyer sentiment? We did get out as well today. We've got and again, it's something that no one's talking about. You have to tune into Ron Siegel Radio to hear this. Retail sales rose by 0.9% in April. But if we're getting a 9% inflation rate, that would be 0.075, right? So if we're getting that, if inflation is going up by 9% and you've got retail sales up by 0.9%, sales really are not going up. People are just buying the same thing, having a little bit of problem doing it. Look at that gas pump. Core retail sales rose by 1%. That takes out food and energy. I don't know if you can live without food and energy. I have trouble with that. Fed Chair Powell is going to speak today. We'll see what he has to say. That'll probably move the market. I told you about the oil forbearance figures. That's a good one on homes. Forbearance figures fell to 47,000, lowest levels since tracking began in June 2020. A lot of alarmists that would thinking that we're going to have a lot of foreclosures because of the COVID forbearance issues. Didn't happen, not going to happen. We told you that right along, that it would not be an issue because of all of the changes that were made, all of the government regulation and appreciation. Why would you let your house go into foreclosure if you are getting 20% appreciation? If you're having a problem that you can't correct or resolve, sell the property and take your profit, take your equity with you. You have a couple of years to reinvest it before you have to worry about paying any kind of taxes. I am not a tax person. That is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Jeff Ball is with us, President and Chief Executive Officer, formal, with the Orange County Business Council. I don't know. I don't think of you as Mr. Formal, though, Jeff.
No, it's a good thing.
So tell me about the Business Council. What is the Orange County Business Council?
Well, first of all, Ron, it's great to be back with you, and thank you for this opportunity to get together and chat. And the Orange County Business Council has been around for a number of years. It was originally formed in a merger of three nonprofit entities, the Orange County Chamber being one, and the Industrial League of Orange County being another. But effectively, what we do is we are the lead business advocacy organization for Orange County. So many of these things that you're talking about, that you often highlight in your show, ways in which public policy is working against the economy, these are the things that we're focused on. Our focus is Orange County, the quality of life in Orange County, and making sure that we continue to have economic growth, which, as you know, is a big challenge right now, given a lot of the macro things that we have to deal with. Macro things that involve federal policy, state policy, and even in some cases, local policy that really gets in the way of allowing this economy to be as effective as it really could be to benefit everybody in the county.
So one of the things I've come across just recently, Jeff, and maybe you've come across something similar, maybe Orange County is different, is I was actually looking at the makeup of the Federal Reserve Board. And I think there's two Fed presidents that have only worked at the Federal Reserve and McKinsey and Company, which they've got an interesting past. We're not going to go into that today. Four have worked at the Federal Reserve and been teachers, and 4 have never done anything but work for the Federal Reserve. Kind of hard to bring a well-rounded understanding of what the average individual's living in life, what the business owner's living, what the community service individuals living if you've never experienced any of that.
Right.
Do you see that in local politics as well?
Well, and one of the things that's interesting right now, Ron, is that we've got about 70% of our legislature has never worked in the private sector.
70%.
70%. So when we're working in Sacramento, a lot of times we're doing a lot more educating than lobbying. Our advocacy effort is often around building awareness around how some of the different policies and ideas that are coming out of Sacramento are actually harmful to the private sector. And of course, we need the growth of the private sector to be able to fund all of these amazing programs that we seem to come up with at the state level. So economic growth is imperative. We have to do it. Even at the local level, when you look at some of the pension obligations that are growing for our cities and our county, we have to grow. The only way we are able to cover those obligations is to grow the economy. And so it's extremely important that we have policymakers that understand the importance and value of the private sector and what drives it. And when only 30% of them have actually worked in it,
maybe for the average guy, I'm just a simple guy, and I listen to you say that we've got pension obligations, and I understand that our teachers and fire and police and all of the public workers have pensions. They're well deserved, but I just heard last week the governor said that we've got a $93 billion budget surplus. So doesn't that cover the pensions?
Well, you would think, right? So if we were to take the state finances and put it into personal terms, right? If we've got a huge amount of credit card debt and it's growing obligations, right? I understand how credit card debt doesn't get paid down unless you seriously pay it down, right? Just making interest payments doesn't do it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we have, a whole flurry of home sales and we have all of this unexpected income coming in. You and I would probably choose to pay down the credit card debt.
Sure.
That's not what we're doing as a state. One example I can give you is we have unemployment insurance. There is an unemployment insurance fund with the state. This is what really kicked in through the pandemic to be able to cover a lot of the unemployment benefits that were going out. That is a state-funded program that comes through the employers and also through our paychecks. And California had to borrow significantly through that period of time, as did other states. Many states are using their current fiscal surplus as an opportunity to pay down that debt. And in some cases, as in Texas, for example, Texas not only paid off their debt, but they pre-funded so that they would have a higher reserve when things get worse again. California, on the other hand, we've got about $26 billion that's on our obligation. Most recent budget numbers talk about paying down just $2 billion of that. So, this is something that's going to impact us in the long term. And we also have to recognize that the surplus is a temporary phenomenon. There was a lot of capital gains that were recognized last year, primarily because of changes in the federal tax code. Many people chose to take advantage of the lower rate before it was increased. That created a lot more capital gains activity. And that is a big part of the surplus on top of course, the federal dollars that came in through a lot of the COVID relief. So it's a temporary thing. And what we watch is that, not only are we not using it to pay down debt, in some cases, we're setting ourselves up for future obligations that has to be paid. So pensions.
We just took out another credit card.
Yeah.
So we've maxed out the ones that we've had and we're taking on more debt.
And so potentially taking on more. And, we have some programs that are very important that have become a key part of our state. And it's important that we're able to sustain those programs. But at the same time, we've got to be fiscally responsible and recognize that the budget surplus we have today is temporary. And we have to be thinking years out and not creating obligations in the future that we're not going to be able to meet. And that's a big concern.
So it's much better to think years out, which makes sense to me, as opposed to my opinion. I'm not going to put words in your mouth, Jeff. Is all the government cares about is November. That's a whole different issue. But
It's certainly not as popular to be paying down debt as opposed to
Right.
showing spending within your district.
Right.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So it's what is going to be the catalyst for the California citizen or the Orange County citizen to realize that some of these policies are not in their best interest long term? Maybe it feels good today to get that check for $400 or whatever the latest ruse is that they're using. What do you have any idea what the catalyst is going to be?
Well, I think we're starting to feel it now. And you were referencing it earlier, the higher gas prices, the higher food prices. When things are going really well, people don't seem to pay attention and they seem to just kind of go along. All of a sudden now it's starting to hurt. And where it's hurting is in our lower class and middle class. And hopefully through a lot of this awareness, people wake up to some of the long-term harm that some of these programs can cause, and particularly the fiscal mismanagement and the need for the private sector to grow, to be able to cover those obligations and provide employment opportunities that we all look for to be able to sustain our quality of life.
Yeah, it's amazing. And the government doesn't think about this concept that business migrates naturally to profit. That's their job. Now, I understand the situation. We're going to talk more with Jeff when we come back on about this. But think about this concept when you're thinking about the baby formula situation, right? It's always been that many, many institutions have said, okay, we're going to use baby products, diapers and formula and things like that. We're going to use those as a minimal margin or a loss leader. Now the government comes in and, right or wrong, they shut down a plant that has 40% of the production. Do you think that the company that runs that plant is motivated to do a lot of work there or the area where they make money? Just throw that out there. Maybe we want some of those incentives to go into different areas to give business the idea of where they can do the right things and to work all the way around and help a lot of people. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, why rising mortgage rates push buyers off the fence, and the Your Credit Matters segment will just be a tout. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at ronsiegelradio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender. Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, the real-time real estate segment. Being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. We're seeing a change in the real estate market. If you're contemplating selling a house, you need to talk to one of our area trusted professionals, because our 99-point marketing plan that we have all of them understanding, and our social presence reaching over 500,000 people every month, might get you the visibility you need to maximize your sales price. Why rising mortgage rates push buyers off the fence. If you're thinking about buying a home, probably heard mortgage rates are rising and have wondered what that means for you. Since mortgage rates have increased over 2 percentage points this year, it's natural to think about how this will impact your homeownership plans. Today, buyers are reacting in one of two ways. Either they're making the decision to buy now before rates climb higher, or they're waiting it out in hopes rates will fall. Let's look at some context that can help you understand why so many buyers are jumping off the fence and into action rather than waiting to buy. I'll look back how the current mortgage rate compares to historical data. One factor that could help you make your decision to buy now is how mortgage rates compare to historical data. While higher than the average 30-year fixed rate in recent years, the latest rates are still comparatively low when you look at the bigger picture of where rates have been since 1971. And if you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our social channels, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you're seeing a chart that goes 18.63. That would be back in the 80s, 5.30 right now. Mark Fleming, chief economist, First American, explains it like this, quote, historical context is important. An average 30-year fixed mortgage rate of 5.5% is still well below the historical average of nearly 8%, unquote. If you're deciding whether to buy now or wait, this is important context to have. Today's mortgage rate still gives you a window of opportunity to lock in a rate that's comparatively lower than past decades. A look ahead, what happens if rates climb further? The buyers who are springing into action now are also motivated to make their move because they know rates have risen steadily this year, and they're eager to get ahead of any further increases. Why? When mortgage rates climb, they impact the monthly mortgage payment you'll have on the home you're buying. Basically, it'll likely cost you more to buy a home if you wait. Experts say mortgage rates will rise, although more moderately in the months ahead. Odetta Cushy, deputy chief economist at First American, explains, quote, ongoing inflationary pressure remains likely to push mortgage rates even higher in the months to come, unquote. So if you're ready and financially able to buy now, it may make more sense to get off the fence and make your purchase sooner rather than later. As Nadia Evangelos, senior economist at National Association of Realtors, says, quote, with even higher interest rates on the horizon, I don't see any reason to hold off from purchasing a home right now. If you feel financially secure, you should start looking for a home, unquote. End of the day, there is no perfect advice on when to buy a home. What you should do depends on your goals, your finances, and your personal situation. Use this information with the help of local real estate professionals to make an informed decision on what's best for you. Remember, give us a call again, 800-306-1990. We'll put you in touch with the people that can help you if you are thinking Or if you have any friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, or borrow on real estate, give us a call, 800-306-1990. Continue our conversation. Jeff Ball is with us, President and CEO of the Orange County Business Council. So tell us a little bit about the mission of the council, Jeff, if you would.
Well, we, as I mentioned before, are the primary voice of business for Orange County. And so our primary focus is economic growth and the imperative need for economic growth, as you and I just talked about in the prior segment. So in order to grow the economy, we obviously need to have a suitable workforce. So we need to make sure we have the appropriate workers that businesses need in order to be able to grow. We also need to make sure that those employees have adequate housing. And we'll talk in a moment about the supply of housing, which I would consider to be our number one crisis right now in Orange County, is our supply of housing. Obviously, in order to support this, we need proper infrastructure. And when I'm talking about infrastructure, it's not just roads and highways, but it's also our sources of energy, it's broadband access, all of the things.
You mean water?
And water. And I want to get into water in a moment because you referenced water earlier, and I do want to come back to that, because water is not a statewide issue. Water is a regional issue. And actually, Orange County, thanks to a lot of very well managed water agencies that we have, Orange County is actually in a very good position on water. So we'll talk about that.
We never hear about that.
Of course you don't. Of course you don't. You only hear about it from a statewide basis. So economic growth, which requires a suitable workforce that need adequate housing, proper infrastructure to support. And then the last thing is quality of life, maintaining this wonderful quality of life that we have in our county, the wonderful access that we have to healthcare services, the amazing things that our charitable organizations do, the arts and entertainment that we have, with continued investments in that area to really make Orange County be the place that you want to live. There's a reason we're more expensive than other parts of the country, and it's a quality of life that we all enjoy. But we want to make sure that we have economic growth that's responsible. There are environmental things that we have to be concerned about. At the same time, we shouldn't be cutting ourselves off at the knees. So those 5 things are really our focus, and all of it driven around this need for economic growth and making sure that we're doing it in a responsible way. None of us like congestion. None of us like having, to sit on the highways for long periods of time or stand in line in the markets. But at the same time, we've got to make sure that we've got adequate economic growth to support everyone.
That's a lot of things on your plate.
A lot of things that we're involved in. Last time I talked to you, I was running a community bank, which I thought was exhaustive. But here we have a lot more issues to go. And I think the 2 key issues, I mentioned housing being our number one crisis. And to talk about that for a moment, and understanding that our big issue is supply. We often put extreme limitations on our ability to develop housing, and it comes in a variety of different ways. But just to give you one sense from a policy standpoint, we estimate that in the last 3 years, just the last 3 years, the state of California has added over $100,000 per unit to the cost of building a home. So when you're talking about those sales figures, you gave a quote on the national home builders, I believe, and the sales being down. California, it's even more extreme because the cost to build is going up. These are soft costs. This $100,000 per unit, these are just regulatory things dealing with environmental issues, CEQA-related matters that often get delayed. And so it's not just in terms of dollars, but also in terms of time that it takes. California has just over 100 million acres of land, the whole state. How much of that do you think is actually developed or developable?
I bet it's a small percentage.
5%. 5 million acres out of 101 million acres that we actually have that can be developed. Give me 1 million acres, Ron.
Right,
Give
exactly.
Me 1 million and see how many houses I can build and how much that would really help with the issues that we're facing. And let's also understand that these housing costs and issues that come from all of these years of policies that just don't work, it's impacting our middle income and lower income the most. Some would argue that we no longer have middle income housing in Orange County simply because the prices have gone so high, and it's all a matter of supply and demand. and the issue is supply. So we're working on a number of the policies and issues that pertain to the ability for the market to build what it is that the market's requiring, and to really move towards having an adequate supply that's going to meet the needs of a growing county. Because, as I said, our need for economic growth is imperative.
You know, when you think about some of the numbers, and I didn't hear the exact numbers that you were sharing, Jeff, but I was told that, you know, building a house in San Diego was the example I was given, was like $200,000 more before you break ground than building a house in Phoenix.
Right.
And you think about that and you start saying, as a business, why would I want to build in California when I can go somewhere else? And as a business, how can I afford to build low income housing when I've got the excessive amounts of fees to get started? I got to build $1 million house, because otherwise, you know, the fees are too high a percentage.
Well, there's a couple of ways that you approach that. One is the size of the house. The other is looking at density. And there's a lot of components of this that we can get into perhaps in another show. We could really key in on housing and the issues around housing. But what I would focus on today is just the concept that we need supply. And we often talk about affordable housing. Affordable is a relative term.
Sure.
And when you've got soft costs of $100,000 before you even start doing anything, where is affordability at that point, right? So there's a lot. To
build a tract of 50 homes at $100,000 each in just the soft costs.
Yeah. And capital is not the issue. There's plenty of capital out there. It's having this ability to build, and the roadblocks that we've created that allow us to be able to build the housing that the market is asking for. And with that shortness in supply, that's how you see the values that we're talking about today.
Well, here's the challenge that I see, and I don't know the answer to it. Maybe you're out there on the front lines. Maybe you see it more, and we'll talk about it when we come back. Is you look at it as a developer, they go and they buy a parcel of land or something that's being used for something else. Then they end up getting all kinds of petitions against them to build, and that doesn't even go into those soft costs because they haven't got to that far yet. And now they own the land that they can't do anything with, yet people still want housing. We'll talk about more with Jeff Ball when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial market. Your credit matters will be on the docket as well. You can reach me anytime off air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions. as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has the solution for you. Just give us a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Continue our conversation. Jeff Ball, President, CEO of the Orange County Business Council, is with us this morning. And I know that you're not all in Orange County. I know that we've got people on the web listening to us all over the world, all over the country, all over the state. I know that our friends at AM 1490 ABC News and Talk Inland Empire, I know that we're all over. Why do I focus on Orange County? Because it is a microcosm of what's going on around the country. Right? Everywhere you listen to, there's housing problems, there's environmental issues. You can't turn on any news conference from the White House without hearing about a climate issue. And I'm gonna submit that I don't know anybody. I mean, other than a few extremists, everybody wants a great environment. Everybody wants our country to be clean and safe and secure. So the fact that one party or another thinks that they've got a monopoly on it, I think that's just a ruse. It's a talking point. Maybe when you don't have anything to talk about, you talk about things that are irrelevant. Just my opinion. But the bottom line is we all want all these same things. The question is, who wants to have a plan, or who's going to have a plan to solve the issues? And when we talk in the last segment, we're not going to reiterate all those things. If you missed it, shame on you. But housing is a big issue. I talk about on radio all the time that housing is expensive. Costs a little extra to have a roof over your head. Maybe the tent is cheaper. I'm looking Orange County, California right now. Who would have ever thought this? I mean, I can't imagine these numbers. Median home price, Orange County, California. I think this comes from Black Knight, is the source on this. $1,031,179. I mean, I don't know about you, but to me, that's not the working class is not buying $1 million home, and that's the median price. I know a lot of folks that can't afford that. So trying to get that, and then I look. So yes, I do know that there are 352 down payment assistance programs in the state of California. 352 of them. Many of them have income calculations on their income caps, and then they say, well, you got to be able to afford $1 million house. Something's a little off there. That goes into the policy issues. So it's nice to have a policy individual with us. So Jeff Ball, I guess you got to deal more with policy now than you did as a bank.
I don't know about that. Just maybe different policy. But a couple of points that I want to make on that data that you shared, Ron, is, a lot of sensitivity today around equality. And the fact that we have many groups that often feel as though, particularly on the basis of race, that we feel have been left behind. The issues that we're dealing with in housing magnify that issue. Many people develop their wealth through the opportunity of home ownership.
Sure.
And so we all know that for many of our minority communities, there is a lower percentage of home ownership, which means they have not had the opportunity to ride this wave. And you talk about the down payment assistance and all that, still got to make the payment.
Right.
Right. And so when you were talking about a number of these issues that relate to equality, housing is a magnification of all of those issues. And it's the policies that I think many people thought would be helpful in trying to improve equality, which has actually worked against us. And I also happen to be on the board of the Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco. And so we provide many of these programs that you're talking about. We do a lot of assistance around the capital needed to get some of these projects completed that can help to provide housing, but also to help to enhance home ownership. And that's a key part of what we need to do as part of the continued growth of the county, is to be able to improve this home ownership within some of these segments that really have been left behind and not had the opportunity to take advantage of the wealth creation that previous generations had. So Housing, it's a current issue based on the affordability. It's a longer term issue based on that opportunity to develop wealth. And these are all very important issues that we have to think about as we look at our policy. As you said earlier, we all want environmental responsibility, but when it inhibits our ability to produce the supply that the market demands, there are implications to that that often reach into some of our more sensitive communities.
I'm going to throw something different at you, Jeff, because it's another one that I think a lot of people miss. So I know that you deal a lot with infrastructure as one of the pillars at the council.
Mhm.
So here's the issue: is I have a problem with the individuals that say, okay, I'm entitled to a house. Okay, I want to live on the water in Newport Beach. I can't afford it, right? So I understand that I have to work harder, or maybe it's not in my cards. But the whole idea here is, from an infrastructure standpoint, we need to get some of the lower socioeconomic areas safer, so that more people want to live there. I don't want to hear people saying, I don't want to buy my first house in XYZ neighborhood because it's not safe. We need to get it where everybody can buy a house in XYZ neighborhood because it is safe, and buy that first house. It's not going to be a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, white picket fence pool. It's a starter home, right? Work your way up. I had a conversation with my son yesterday. He said that there's a lot of people at his work that claim they're living in their cars. And I said, well, the issue is maybe they're not trying to advance themselves.
Yes, and I think there's that argument, right, in terms of the ability for people to have those opportunities to grow. And so one of the pillars I talked about was workforce,
Right.
and making sure that we're properly preparing our workforce. And we have to recognize we're always going to have different spectrums of jobs and capabilities.
Sure,
and all
absolutely.
that. My concern is the policies that we've had have been overly harmful to the lower and middle income levels of our society. And we will always have those levels. The comments that you make about certain neighborhoods and being safe, that's a public safety argument. And, relative to Orange County, we have very safe neighborhoods overall compared to many other parts of the country.
Sure.
Right. And we need to make sure we continue the policies we have so that we can continue to feel safe in these neighborhoods. But when we're talking about this access to home ownership, and we're talking about having increased supply, it's a need across the whole spectrum. And when we aren't able to produce the supply that the market is demanding, where does it get felt the most? It's at that lower and middle income tier. Because when you're talking about a median home price of $1 million, what is the salary that you would have to be able to afford that, even with down payment assistance?
Sure.
Right? Even if you're financing 80% of that, what is the income you would require to be able to do that? That's a level of production that not all people are able to produce. And so that's where we have this issue of supply. And it's
we can't have them
number one
producing
crisis in Orange County.
We can't have them all producing it, because the bottom line is okay, so you have the people that are working in high tech in South Orange County, right? Or in Newport and Irvine, and they're making a good wage, but there's all kinds of infrastructure to support those folks, right? You're going to have the individual that is cleaning up those offices, and they need to have adequate and comfortable housing in that area as well.
Correct. And that's the whole point about supply, and where supply is hurting. And we need supply at all levels, because even if we have more supply at the higher end, that means more people will transition into that housing, providing availability at the lower end. It's supply and demand.
Sure.
And when you cut off the supply, you increase the prices naturally, and you move it out of the affordability of the segment you claim to be helping. And that's the issue from a policy standpoint.
So we need to so here's the bottom line, because I know we're out of time, but here's the issue. You got to have people that are educated as the voter. You got to have people that are voting for the individuals. Hey, look at who you've been voting for, right? Because if you've been voting for X and you're in a situation that you're not happy with, maybe you need to look at why. And I don't know who that is. I don't know your neighborhood. I don't know your preferences, but you might want to look at something different in the future to see if maybe if you don't like the results you're seeing. Here's just a simple thing that could be done. Simple. I like simple. I'm a simple guy, right? You got all this money that Sacramento has. Why not help with some of the soft costs that go into housing that is going to the segment that we want to help the most? Just throw that out there. And maybe you want to ask your politicians and your elected officials if they're on board with something like that. As always, I ask you, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. Talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.